My guest today will share her story of a lifelong passion for color, a healing journey through breast cancer, and the sincere and thoughtful project she created to connect quilters across the globe during the pandemic. Today, I'll have a chat with Cecilia Koppmann. Welcome to the Quilter on Fire podcast. I'm Brandy Maslowski, and if there's one thing I've learned from hundreds of conversations with quilters, artists, entrepreneurs, and makers from around the world, it's this. There isn't one right way to build a creative life. Some of my guests found quilting as children, others discovered it later in life. Some are building businesses, some are winning awards, and some are simply making time to create between work, family, and everything else life throws in their way. What they all have in common is a willingness to stay curious, keep learning, and keep making. Each week, I bring you honest conversations, practical insights, inspiring stories, and the occasional lesson learned the hard way. So you can spend less time wondering what's possible and more time creating a life you love. Whether you're stitching in your studio, driving to work, walking the dog, or dreaming about your next quilt project, I'm so glad you're here. Let's light that creative fire together. My guest today is Cecilia Koppmann. She is an internationally recognized textile artist, teacher, and color expert based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Cecilia has been creating and teaching textile art since 1998. What she's really especially known for is her incredible understanding of color. Through hand-dyed fabrics, art quilts, workshops, and lectures around the world, Cecilia helps makers see color in a completely new way. She has taught throughout North and South America and Europe, served as a juror for major textile festivals, and she spent 14 years bringing patchwork and quilting into homes across Latin America through television. Her work has been exhibited around the world, including Houston, Birmingham, France, Brazil, and the Excellence in Fibers show at San Jose Museum of Quilts and Textiles in California, just to name a few. She has presented major solo exhibitions and retrospectives of her work. You know, if you hear the word retrospective, they've been at the top of their game for a while. So let's explore the story of Cecilia Koppmann. Cecilia, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Brandy. I'm so thrilled to be here, and thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. Now, I've met you a few times, and I've wanted to have you on the show for quite some time. So I was so glad to meet you in person at a recent show to get this podcast going. Okay, let's start off back at the beginning. Where did creativity begin for you?
Well, I think I was born with it. And since I was really little, I showed this to my parents. I was really creative and I loved doing things with my hands. So they always sent me to art classes after school. I always went to art classes since I remember. So I made ceramics, batiks, sometimes are textile things, sometimes enamel, copper, and all kind of those things. Yeah, I loved crafts.
So was there someone in your life early on in your childhood who really encouraged you to you just be creative?
Well, yes, I could say in my family, my home was filled with art in general. My father was a violinist. Well, he wasn't a violinist. He plays violin. He was an accountant. He doesn't work as a violin. But yeah, he played violin every day. My grandmother was a pianist, and my mother had a great sense of color. So in my family, there were always music, and because they worked together, they were accountant both, and they have some clients that owns art galleries. So it was really like common for us to go. I'm speaking in plural because we are three sisters.
Yeah.
So we used to go to art galleries when there were openings, and we usually go to the opera house to hear concerts. So, art was over there all the time.
Yeah.
And crafts too, because my on my grandmother, on my mother's side, my grandmother was a self-taught dressmaker. And she didn't want my mother to learn how to sew because she wanted her to go to university.
Oh.
But my mother was really stubborn, as so she learned it anyway, and she was really good and neat, and she made all our clothes for us. And she knitted the sweaters too. She had those, those knitting machines,
Yeah.
the knitags. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Those. And so she was great at it. So yeah, everything helped, I think, to have an art environment.
Yeah. So can you give us a look at the timeline? Was there an educational or career path that led to quilting for you?
Not really, because when I studied interior design, and I really wanted to study art, but in Argentina there were a difficult moment at that time. When I finished high school, it was dangerous to go to certain kind of schools like art, psychology, humanity careers. That was really dangerous at that moment. So my parents didn't let me go there. So I chose to study architecture, and then I moved to interior design. So I worked as an interior designer for a lot of years, and then I met Patricia Perez Canto. She was a mother of my children's school, and when I met her, I was trying to be friendly to her because she was alone in the schoolyard. And so I asked, what you do? Where do you come from? Because she was just arrived to Argentina. And she said, I do quilting. And I stared at her. I didn't have a clue what she was talking about. So she said, patchwork. Oh, that's nice. And I always wanted to sew. I bought a sewing machine when my eldest son was born, but I never, with the fantasy that I would make all the clothing for him, but I never did. It never happened. And then when she said that she made patchwork, I was interested in, and oh, do you teach? And she said, well, maybe, because she couldn't find any quilters in Argentina. So yeah, maybe I will teach so I can have my own group. And so then I started. 7 months later, I started quilting, and I was over the moon with that quilting.
You were hooked right away. And so did you change your career path from interior design? Like, did you have a career in interior design and have to end that to start having a quilting business?
No, because I always say that I'm I run like in crisis propulsion. And in Argentina, crisis management is our specialty. So yeah, you have to reinvent yourself many times in your life. Yeah. So I was working as an interior designer, and then I stopped because I have 3 children. But then, and when I started quilting, it was a hobby. Mm-hmm. But then another big crisis occurs here. The bank, well, doesn't matter, but the government allowed the banks to keep all the money from the people. Oh. So it's crazy. So we lost everything. We had just sold the house. So we lost the house. My husband lost his job. It was horrible. So because I sew, I knew how to sew. I started like a business making pillows and duvet covers and many things with fabric, and started selling them. And I ended up with a wholesale business. Mm. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was hard, but it was so fun. But I had to stop making quilts just for fun. Yeah. So then 7 or 6 years later, I was ill I was diagnosed with colon cancer. So I stopped. I closed my business. We were on our feet already. So I closed my business, and I started making, and because I thought I was going to die soon, I said, I want to prove to myself if I can be an artist. So I started going to Houston to learn a lot with a lot of great teachers there. So I went to Houston every year since then, and yeah, to take classes, and I took some classes in color with visual artists here in Argentina. And yeah, so I had to, yeah, I reinvented myself.
Yeah.
And at one point I said, okay, now I'm going to teach. And I also went to the TV show when the big crisis was, and I started teaching there.
Yeah. Tell us all about the TV show. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it was. Well, and I never dreamed about being in a quilt show. Of course, I didn't quilt before, but when this big crisis and the house things happened, I went to the TV show and said, okay, this is what I make. And I showed them a lot of quilts that I already made. And they say, okay, it was really new here. In Argentina, it's not popular. It's not as popular now, maybe, but it wasn't as popular as it is in North America. So I had a segment in this TV show that there were knitting, sewing clothes, embroidery, and all kind of fiber activities. So I started teaching there, and it was great. And I've been there for 12 years until the channel closed permanently.
Wow. And so did you teach everything yourself on the show, or did you bring on guests? How did it work?
No, I teach by myself, because it's not only my show.
Yeah.
We were three in each show. We were three. One was embroidering, the other one was quilting. Well, I was quilting, and then another one might knit or crochet or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, so when did you really realize, okay, quilting is my thing, the TV show is going great, I'm going to make fine art and I'm going to start displaying it, bringing it to the world? When did you start to do that?
Well, it started when I closed my business and started to take classes in Houston and all that, and I only wanted to make art quilts.
So where are you in the world right now, and who do you surround yourself with every day?
Okay, I live in Argentina. I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I am here, but many months of the year I travel. I just came from Japan and Australia. I went there to teach, and I had a lecture in Japan. And I live with and I'm moving for 4 months to Canada.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. I'm going at the end of July until December, so I'm so excited about that. And I live with my husband and my youngest son. We have 3 sons, and the youngest is still with us, and my crazy cat.
Your crazy cat. Well, that's really exciting. So what will you be doing when you come to Canada for this second half of 2026?
Well, I will teach, because I teach by Zoom. So I will keep on teaching by Zoom because I give classes on a regular basis.
Yeah.
When I'm here, when I'm in Buenos Aires, I teach classes on a regular basis, twice a month.
Yeah.
I have many groups in different subjects, like art quilts. It's one group, 2 groups of art quilts, then another one in traditional quilts, and then another only by hand. And so I will keep those groups, and I will try to be in contact with as many quilters as I can in Canada.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I have to go to Houston too in the middle of in November. I will be in Houston teaching there.
Oh, that sounds great. Okay, I want to take a little dive into when inspiration strikes. What does the process look like for you when you're about to create a new piece and something's inspired you?
Well, what I usually do is I take out all my hand-dyed fabrics. I have a lot.
Mhm.
I don't dye specifically for a project. I just dye because I love color.
Yeah.
And then when I start a project, I usually put my fabrics on the table, and that's where I started usually, like choosing colors, and I like to sort the fabrics by color, by value, by saturation or whatever. I sometimes I make a quick sketch on my notebook.
Mhm.
It's a quick sketch with more words than drawings. So I can say, for example, I established some rules to myself, like, I don't know, I want this one to go from light to dark, or yeah, I will do like if they were fading, or some sentences like that.
Oh, so you give yourself kind of a creative prompt or a barrier that you have to stay, you have to have some kind of parameter that can.
Exactly. And it's nice for me. So I don't have an exact idea of what I want.
Mhm.
I want to do this, and let's see how it turns out.
Yeah.
I
And
like that surprise.
so do you find that you look at the fabric, you play with the color, you use your own hand dyes, and then it turns out to be about something? Or do you have a theme in mind at the beginning?
I never have a theme.
It turns
It's
out to be what
no,
it is.
I laugh because it's so difficult for me to follow a theme.
Yeah.
I think that I like to say that I let myself go,
Mhm.
and then the subconscious emerges.
Yeah.
Then when you finish your piece, you realize, oh, that was happening to me at the time, and it shows.
Yeah.
But I don't think about that beforehand. I
Yeah.
just let myself go.
You're really well known for your exceptional use of color in your work. And so I'd love to ask you one question about that. If there was something you could say maybe in your class to students or something, what's the thing you love to share about color?
I like them to know all the rules,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can break it.
Ah, yes.
They can break them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that they should know about the color wheel and the analogous and complementary colors and value and saturation and all that. And then you can do whatever you want. But you have to know that, I think.
Yeah. So really what I'm hearing is it's nice to have the foundation, have the knowledge about color, and then play from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With color and with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
So what parts of your quilting business are keeping you busiest right now?
Well, travel, it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
Beforehand. I have to, because I make everything by my own. I don't have anybody to help me, anyone to help me. So yeah, it's hard to arrange all the things you have to get ready to travel. So that's a hard part, but it's wonderful on the other side. And I love teaching. I love teaching. I love people. And I like when I teach something and with the same prompt, everybody turns out with something different.
Yeah.
And that's so great. That's the kind of class I like to teach.
Yeah, you have over 30 workshops listed on your website, and you're excited to travel and teach right now. So what's your most popular class that gets booked the most?
I think that lately it was fisheye quilt.
Okay.
And that's the one that it's great because I give a lot of ideas of color and how do you use the colors, how you would use the colors so to enhance that effect, that visual effect. And it's incredible. There's no one similar to another one.
Yeah.
And I taught that, I think, more than 300 people.
Wow.
And I have a lot of examples, really, really different from one another.
Yeah, and that one incorporates not just cotton, but silks as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love working with silks. They have
peony
beautiful
silks.
colors. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just talk for a moment about stitch. So when you're creating your quilts, do you do most of your stitching by machine or do you love to hand stitch as well?
No, I do a lot of machine stitching. Sometimes I make some handwork, but only when I travel.
Okay, so we mentioned your quilt fisheye. And so if someone reached out to you to say, we want you to come and teach, and you had the choice, what would be your first choice to teach to a guild if you had a few days?
Oh, if I have a few days?
Yeah, like 3 days or something?
Yeah, a few days, color.
Color.
Dyeing fabrics.
Yeah.
I had a retreat in France last year, and it was great. I enjoyed it a lot. We made 4 days living with the ladies,
Yeah.
and it was great. They went home with more than 90 pieces of fabric, all
Wow.
different. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that would
They
be so
worked a
fun.
lot.
That would be so
Yeah.
fun to fill up your stash with fabrics you dyed yourself. What a great
Yes.
idea. Do you do retreats every year?
I would love to.
Okay, maybe we'll have to get together and make that happen.
Yes, please.
That sounds really good. Well, it sounds like, I mean, coming home with all that fabric would just be so great. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and the best part is that you can have the same color but in different values. So you
yeah,
can make a lot with those
yeah,
fabrics.
yeah, it's fun to do gradation. It's like a gradation of dyeing, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And also you can go from one color to another one. So it's not only from light to dark, but you
Yeah.
can, yeah.
I have loved that. I did that kind of dyeing once using a whole bunch of bags, and I started one end with one color and one end with the other, and it was really fun to figure out what the result. You have no idea what it's going to look like until it's done.
Yeah, and also you can learn a lot about color while you are dyeing.
Yeah.
Not dyeing, but dyeing.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really fun. So you're available to teach. You can do multi-days of teaching, of course, especially if a guild is bringing you into North America or something like that. So if you're listening right now and you are the program coordinator, people could just reach out to you through your website, right?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay.
And also by Zoom. I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Well, for the dyeing sessions, yes, of course.
Yeah.
But for other workshops, I don't have to be there.
All kinds of workshops on there. So I encourage you to go check it out. There's 30 workshops listed on the website, and it looks like just a wonderful variety of techniques and designs. So that's fun. Okay, so you also have 2 lectures. So let's talk about those.
Okay, one lecture is about the healing power of quilting.
Yeah.
And the other one is more like a trunk show. I talk about my work and how I approach to some of the pieces.
Yeah, and I bet your trunk show has a lot to do with color, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And you've had some wonderful collaborations along the way. Bernina is one of them. And so you mentioned you're going to be in Canada. Will you be connecting with Bernina while you're here?
I already did because I knew that I can go there without any machine. So I talked to them and they said they will lend me a machine there.
Oh, that's
and I can give some workshops in there too. We'll see.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So that's Bernina, Canada in Ontario. And I'm sure they would be so excited to have you. Okay. So let's just touch on your website for a minute. So I'll name the website is ceciliakoppmann.com. And Koppmann is 2 P's and 2 N's, right?
Exactly.
And you'll find over 30 workshops there, the descriptions of the 2 lectures we just mentioned on her trunk show and color and healing. And the thing that I need you to go look at if you're listening right now is the gallery. I could talk about this gallery for days. You must go to the website, go to ceciliakoppmann.com and click on the work tab to see Cecilia's quilts. She has large quilts and small quilts and year-end quilts and the quarantine quilt project and the breast series. We're going to talk about all of those coming up on this episode of the podcast. So go look at them, grab a cup of tea, just go. I really encourage you to go take a look. Now, Cecilia, I saw a few things on your website I want to explore, and I want to find out more. So you've exhibited your work all over the world, including Houston, Birmingham, France, all the ones we mentioned earlier. Do you remember what was your very first solo exhibition?
It was in Houston in 2018. I couldn't believe they called me and said, would you like to exhibit only you? Yes, of course. I was, they called that Rising Star.
Yeah.
And that was the first one. I was thrilled to be there. And that was Yeah, that was the first one. Then I
28.
had another one in France.
Yeah.
Then in Brazil.
Wow.
Maybe Brazil was the first one. And then I showed my work in Brazil again last year. I don't remember exactly when.
Yeah. Oh,
everything
so exciting too. So when you get the call, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, did you feel like you had a full body of work ready, or did you have to add a few more quilts to get ready? How did it work?
I had a lot.
Yeah.
I had a lot. I had to think, and I sent them a lot of pictures, and they helped me choose which one would be. But they asked me to take from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Well, not to the end, but to the present days.
Yeah.
And so I brought different kind of quilts.
Yeah.
That wasn't great, actually.
Why wasn't it great?
Because you want to show a body of work that really talk to you right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessary for people to see my first quilt.
Yeah. Every single quilt you've ever made. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was quite a mistake.
Well, and it's nice to learn from that experience. And then next time, okay, I'm going to bring a body of work that really is cohesive and tells a story right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because it was the first time, and they said, okay, start by your first quilts and then
give us a timeline. Yeah. Okay, let's get into a conversation about community, because I know community means a lot to you and you've really infused it into your business in a whole bunch of different ways. But I want to start by talking about what you do on a regular basis on Zoom, because you have 7 different groups of people that you've been with for 15, 20 years. So tell me what you do there. You just touched on it earlier, but I want to go deeper into that.
Yes, well, I teach by Zoom. Or after pandemia, I teach by Zoom, and I have different categories of classes, and we meet every 15 days.
Yeah.
And it's great because they all become friends. And at the end of the year, I celebrate with a party. All of them used to be Argentinians, but nowadays they are from other places too. So I have 2 parties now, one in Buenos Aires and another one by Zoom, which is fun too.
Yeah.
And I love community. It's very important for me. And I think it's really, that's part of the healing part.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Quilting. Yeah.
Now, I have a quote here today, but we already kind of touched on it. It's "Learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist" by Pablo Picasso. Now, I guess it doesn't only apply to color, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think it applies to everything. If you want to quilt, well, you probably don't like to make like traditional blocks, but you have to learn, because if you want to do something that has to be precise, you have to know how to make traditional blocks too. So then you can never touch them again, but you have to learn how to do that.
Yeah, that's really great advice, because I would imagine even if you're an art quilter through and through, if you went and took a precision piecing or a precision cutting or a color class, that might really improve your artwork, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so right now we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about Cecilia's studio, what brings her joy, and what's coming soon. We'll be right back. Have you ever heard me announce something on the podcast and thought, wait, how did everyone else know about this but me? Here's the secret. The people on my newsletter hear about everything first. Every Tuesday, they get a preview of the newest Quilter on Fire podcast episode before it lands in their podcast app. Every Friday, they get my weekly roundup with the latest tools, tips, and tricks, where I'm off to next in the world, my latest YouTube video, and things that caught my attention in the quilting world. And if you're interested in quilt travel, This is the big one. Newsletter subscribers are the first to hear about international trips. My Japan tour filled in less than 2 weeks, and I have more incredible destinations in the works. When those trips are announced, newsletter subscribers get the news first. So if you don't want to miss a podcast, a travel opportunity, or something exciting happening in the Quilter on Fire community, get yourself on the list today. It's easy. Just head to quilteronfire.com, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, enter your email address, and you're in. Join thousands of quilters who are already getting the inside scoop. That's quilteronfire.com, scroll to the bottom, sign up, and I'll see you in your inbox. And we are back with Cecilia Koppmann. Cecilia, what does your studio space say about you?
Okay, it's not very nice, the things that my studio say about me, because I'm not really neat at all. It's always a mess. So it seems that someone, the thieves were there a minute before.
You need an invisible elf to come back and clean up.
I would love to do that. I would love to have that. My mother used to, she was so neat, and she go nuts when she see me with all that disorder. So she usually asks me, "Do you want me to tie up your boxes?" "Oh yes, please." So then she spent the whole afternoon doing that for me. And then when she came back 1 week later, she said, "But Cecilia, didn't I put in order these fabrics already?" They are all messed up again. So that, I have a really nice studio, but it's difficult for me to be tidy.
Can you describe it to us?
Yeah, it's in my home. I live in an old French style building. So it has high ceilings and big windows. And it was meant to be the dining room of this apartment, but it never was. It was always my studio. So I have a huge table with that has shelves underneath. So I put all my boxes with fabrics on there. And I also have some antique furniture where I store, notions, fabric, not fabric, notions and threads and all kinds of things. Yes.
Okay, that sounds great. So in your creative practice, what brings you joy?
Everything. Everything. I love choosing the color. I love dyeing my fabrics. I love teaching. I love sewing, cutting, everything. It really, I'm so happy. I think I have the best work ever.
Yeah.
The best job
in the world.
ever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the best thing you do for your own self-care?
I don't exercise at all. That's not very good. But the best thing I do for myself, I think it's to gather a lot with my friends. I have a lot of really good friends, and my sisters too. I have 2 sisters, and I love being with them and my friends, and of course with my boys. But that's they are not boys anymore, they are men, but that's difficult. It's difficult to gather them now. We're all adults, so
so friends and family. I love it.
Friends and family.
Okay, so this is the feature of the podcast. We are about to talk about the quilts, and I'm so excited to get into this topic. So let's start with some of the most memorable quilts. Is there a project or quilt that's been most meaningful for you?
There are a lot, but if you let me, I can talk about 4 of them.
Yeah, sure.
Agua. It's one. Water. It's the one I made the first time I see the Caribbean Sea. I was invited by a lovely couple of Mexico. They are Lourdes Cruz and Eduardo Ramirez Cato. They invited me to go to Mexico to teach, and they lent me an apartment at the Playa del Carmen.
Okay.
And I saw the Caribbean Sea for the first time.
Wow.
And I was amazed about the colors. So as soon as I get back home, I started dyeing my fabrics and made a quilt. So I finished it in time to get to submit it in biennial exhibition here in Buenos Aires. It's a museum, and it won first prize.
Wow.
And it was an acquisition prize, which was sad because I never saw my quilt again. Yeah. But on the other hand, that means a salary for the rest of my life.
Wow, that is wonderful. So that was Eduardo Sivori Museum Collection, right?
Exactly, yes.
And so let's talk about this piece for a second, because it's about 48 by 69, and it has this wonderful gradation of color from top to bottom, light to dark, and it's pieced in the background. Are the beautiful wave of bright colors, is that appliqué on top, or is that part of the piecing?
They are appliqué on top. They are mostly silks, and it's a school of fish.
Oh, yeah. It's so wonderful. And so is the background cottons and the fish are the silks, or is it a big mixture everywhere?
I don't remember, but I think that they are all cotton in the background and silk for the fishes.
Yeah, so gorgeous. Okay, let's talk about birds.
Birds, it's another one that I made with a fabric I asked my students to give me. At the end of the year, I like to have a quilt with all of them because I have them the whole year. I like to make a quilt with a piece of something from them. Yeah. So I asked them to give me a 5 by 3 inches piece of fabric, and I cut those birds with an AccuQuilt. And I put them on top of IKEA fabric with a music sheet. Yeah. And it was great because in 2018, when I went to Houston and I showed that quilt, people started asking for a pattern for that. So I said, okay. So I wrote my first pattern. Wow. And it was a successful one. Yeah.
Your first pattern's available on your website. And what a wonderful way to celebrate a year long of classes with wonderful students, right?
Yes. And in the back, it has the cutouts of the birds. Yeah. And everyone puts their names on it in the quilt. Yeah. That's so nice wonderful to have them there.
Yeah. I love that idea. How sweet. Okay. Let's talk about Radiotherapy Project.
Okay, that was a project that in 2012 I had to undergo to a radiation treatment. So in the first appointment, I have to wait for 2 hours, and I went nuts. So I made like a game for myself, and I said, okay, I have to do this anyway. So I'll take a piece of fabric each day, and because I had to have 37 sessions. Yeah. And so I brought each day I have a new piece of fabric, and I would start embroidering around the center. I put the number for the session, and then I started embroidering. And the rule was I couldn't start before the waiting room, and I couldn't end after leaving the waiting room. So it was like a record of how much time would I spend in the waiting room. So it was great because I never had to wait that amount of time again, of course. But it was great for me. It was putting, another rule I put to myself is I would take a picture of what I did the day before in my blog at the time. And I received a lot of encouraging comments on the blog. So that was really nice for me at the time. And also when I finished, I put all the blocks in a quilt, and it was like closing a chapter in a creative way. So it was really helpful because I wasn't going to take my treatment. I was going to embroider. Yeah. So I ended up cheating because I let people go for me. so I can keep on
You can keep
embroidering. That
stitching.
was ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, well, what a great way to stitch through a healing process, right? And or help yourself get through a difficult time. It's such a great idea. And if you're listening right now and you're thinking, I want to see this, you can go to the website. It's CeciliaKoppmann.com, as we already mentioned, and click on work, and then you'll see breast series. So you can click on that and you can see a number of quilts, including the radiotherapy project. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is the pandemic daily block. There's a few different elements to this project, right? So you started off by just creating a block and teaching something online during the pandemic, right? So tell us the story.
Yeah, because it was the same concept as the radiation project, because I wanted to do one traditional block a day until the pandemic and until the COVID was over.
Yeah.
And at that time we thought, well, it will last 15 days.
Yeah.
But then, so I started making one block a day, and I went live in Instagram and Facebook and said, does anybody want to join me? I'm going to make a traditional block a day. And suddenly a lot of people were following me and doing the quilt with me. It was gorgeous. And then I talked to my sister, the one who lives in Canada, Clementina. She's communicator. She's a graphic designer. Yeah. So she offered me some help with the graphic things, but we ended up talking every day about the project and what we should do and what we should not do and everything. And at the end, she said, you can't miss this year the quilt that you always do with your students. Yeah. And I said, okay, then I can ask them to send me a small house, because the motto was stay at home. Yeah. And they can send me a house, 4x4 inches house with their names and the flag for their countries. And I received more than 650 blocks. Wow. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly. So you taught, motivated, and guided 625 people from 26 countries around the world to be part of this community and do something good for themselves during the pandemic, which I just love. So there was a little motto listed on your website that said, sewing together to keep it together. What does that mean to you?
Well, because we have in Spanish, it was coser para no enloquecer. It's like sewing so you don't get mad. Yeah. And so my sister put it in English in that way. Yeah. So because we sew and we totally forget what was going on. We never talk about COVID during the live sessions. We only focus in our colors and the fabrics and the way you have to sew the block and then how to join them, how to quilt it, because for a lot of people, there were the first time they would make a quilt. Yeah. So after teaching the blocks, I taught how to make the other things you have to do to finish the quilt. So the binding and So great. Yeah.
So everyone individually was able to make their own quilt, learning block by block from you. And then in the end, 620 or 650 people sent you a 4-inch house block. What was it like going to the post office every day? Did you have just a post box at your door, or?
No, I had to go to the post office. I didn't want them to have my address. Yeah. It's not because I didn't want them to send me presents. That's why I did that. Yeah. So I opened a mailbox in a post office near here, and I went once a week. Wow. And that was every Monday. So on Monday I cried.
Oh, so you open them up and
I opened them, and they often came with the houses, of course, and sometimes with really moving letters, telling things that sometimes are happy things and sometimes are not. So yeah, I cried the whole afternoon. Afternoon Mondays. It's easy to make me cry, I have to admit.
Well, what a beautiful project. So I want to talk about a couple more quilts that have to do with the healing aspect of your work. So the next one is called Grief. Tell us about that one.
Okay, my best friend died 3 years ago. It was, when I was talking about before, that when you let yourself go, I was making that piece when I knew she was dead, and suddenly I was cutting that piece and inserting black strips, but it wasn't in purpose. It was, I don't know what happened, but yeah. And then I ended up with that. I like that quilt a lot. It has a lot of silk in it and also hand-dyed fabrics. And if you don't know the story, it's quite a happy quilt because it has nice colors.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it has a wonderful use of color and line, and it's got this really cool layering effect. It's such a rich composition. I love that quilt. And then I saw another one that sort of seems like a similar layered effect, but very different feeling when you look at it. And that one's called Scars. So tell us about that one.
Yeah, because the it hurts. It still hurts, but now that it's been more time, that time is kind of, you still have the scars, but your heart is healing in some way. I don't know how to say this in English, but you still have the pain that she's not there anymore, but it's not as hard as the first time, as the first moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are scars.
Okay, so we've talked about a few. I want to touch on the awards that some of these have won, because you mentioned Water or Aqua, that won an award. But the Radiotherapy Project won an award as well. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, there was an exhibition here in Buenos Aires about breast cancer. And the judge was a very renowned artist here. He's called Milo Lockett. So he was a judge in that exhibition, and it won an award there.
Wow.
So yeah.
And Grief and Scars have both won awards as well, right?
Yeah, in Brazil last year, Scars was best of show in Floripa Quilt. It's in Florianópolis in Brazil. And I think that Grief had an award, I don't remember actually, in Gramado in Brazil, in another place in Brazil.
Wow, so wonderful. And there's one more thing I want to touch on about the collective quilt, like the collective quilt during the pandemic, because you've gone on to travel all over to show that. Is it part of a lecture now, or you're traveling to do events with it?
No, it's part of the lecture, and the goal was to bring the quilt to every country that participated in the quilt. I don't think that would be possible because I won't go to 26 countries, but we already went with
So you've been to Argentina,
Uruguay, Mexico, Brazil, Japan, and Australia, and virtual. We presented a virtual gallery because Clementina, my sister, the one who worked with me in this project, she made a virtual gallery that is on the website. So if you click on the house, you can see the quilt that lady made and the story and how she made custom it, and
so wonderful things. Okay, so we've talked about the healing aspect of your work, which is a topic very close to your heart. But let's go into a few quilts that demonstrate other facets of your work. So let's start with What Cannot Be Hidden.
Okay, I made this. I received from an upholstery shop. My other sister has to make some refurbishing in her house. And she said, please don't throw away this fabric, because I will give it to my sister. She makes things with fabric. So they called me later and said, I have a lot of samples. Do you want them? Of course. So I started making some quilts with those fabrics, which are great. There are a lot of different kind of fabrics and different textures and all that.
Yeah.
So it's quite a new thing to do. And
and it's a gorgeous quilt. And so I want to move on to talk about fisheye again. We touched on it. Did you make a couple of versions of that one?
Yes, because the first one, it was sold in QuiltCon a couple of years ago. So I had to make another one. So I have one for the classes.
Yeah.
And I saw a quilt in Pinterest, and I thought that maybe it has a kind of effect, but not as much as you can do or make. Mm-hmm. So I tried to enhance that effect, putting the colors the way that can exaggerate that effect.
Yeah, it's exceptional. I really love the way, like, it just sort of, it almost looks like you're looking at a round ball when you're looking at the quilt, right? So that's really cool. And
I like the first one better than the second one.
Was it a different colorway or?
Yes, I don't know. The first one is more multicolor.
Yeah. Okay. And let's talk about hexagram.
Okay, that's the one that I made because I received a lot of linen and from that shop, and I wanted to use all my silks. So I mixed the silk with the linen, and for me, it's like it's an improvisational piecing, and for me, it's like a music sheet, but instead of having 5 lines, it has 6. That's why I call it hexagram. In Spanish, it makes more sense. I know that in English it doesn't, but in Spanish, the sheet music, it's called pentagrama.
Oh, pentagram. Okay.
So hexagram, it's for 6 lines.
Yeah, so great. Well, I love it. And it's kind of a departure from the variety of color you normally use is really the huge feature. This one has more like a really neutral, low volume background and then little, pops of color everywhere. So yeah.
I think the last things I made, they are going that way. Yeah. It wasn't in purpose, but yeah.
Yeah, and you can see that, like, for what cannot be hidden, that's also a very neutral background as well. Yeah. And you can tell that you love gradation.
Does it show?
It does show. It does show. Okay, let's talk about one more, and it's called Euphoria. This one is just gorgeous, and it has a mixture of line and shape and, all kinds of stuff going on. So tell us about that one.
Well, it's funny because I started making a quilt with different blocks with that organic shape. And then I put them together and I really didn't like it. So it wasn't that one. It was another one. It's called Marcia. You can see it in my website too. So I didn't like how it went. So I cut it up. And I said, okay, I'm going to cut this out and see if I can rearrange the pieces. And if not, I can throw this away. Yeah. And I love the way it turned out. So then I started another one, which was Euphoria. Yeah. And I put big pieces and then I cut it and then rearrange the pieces. So I think it's a really good class, that one, because it's a new kind of approach. You will never know how it will end. Yeah. So it's so fun to do it.
So Euphoria is the quilt that you use when you're teaching. Is it the deconstructed class? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
I love it. Okay. So now it's time for the lightning round robin. It's fast and fun. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
What is your favorite tool or notion?
Design wall.
Design wall. Oh, that's a good answer. I don't think I've ever had that answer before.
No? Yeah, the design wall.
Do you have any kind of annual creative escape?
Well, I escape the whole year, so everyone are my favorite ones.
You travel all over and you teach and speak.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
that's kind of like a creative escape. Is there anything that you do just for you, though, without students?
Yes, I try to do things for myself, and I do that during the summer usually.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah,
have more time
you have
during
to
the
make
summer.
quilts, right?
Exactly.
What is a skill you'd still love to learn?
I would love to learn how to go more digital.
Okay.
So I could make like different designs.
hmm That
I
they
would
could turn
try.
in. Yeah. So once you
Yeah,
create something digitally, it's fast and furious when you're digital. So you could have a mass amount of designs instead of creating one quilt at a time.
exactly. And I really want to try that.
Yeah. Okay. What's your proudest accomplishment?
My family.
Yeah.
My family, because after a lot of difficulties we had,
Yeah.
we're still together. We get along very well. I have three lovely and beautiful sons. So, yeah, my family and a beautiful and lovely husband, too.
Yeah.
But you don't have to brag on your husband.
No.
They will steal.
Yeah.
They will steal it from you.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. What's the best advice you've received?
Use your fabric.
Mm,
Use your fabrics.
that's good advice. Yeah, I think a lot of us
Yeah.
cherish rather than use.
Yeah. You will see them a lot more if you use it in a quilt than if you have it in a box.
Yeah, that's very true. Good advice. Do you have any furry friends in your studio?
Yes, I have my crazy Zuri. She's a crazy cat. She's so crazy, so crazy. She's kind of mean, but I love her. But yeah, she's yeah. You only can touch her
Yeah.
if you just stepped out of your shower and you're dripping
Mhm.
here. She loved to be wet with your dripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're dripping, and you can touch her a lot there in the
Yeah.
bathroom during the morning and if you're wet. But if you try to touch her in the kitchen, he will bite. She will bite you.
So
So
cute.
she's so
Aw. She's mean, but she's cute and she's loving.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, well, thank you for braving the lightning round robin. That was fun. So I want to mention the website one more time, ceciliakoppmann.com, where you can see all the lovely things that we've talked about today. And especially, please go look at all of the workshops available. Go and look at the gallery of work. You'll be so inspired. And keep an eye on what's going on Cecilia's Instagram. And so let's talk about where can we find you on social media?
Well, I'm in Instagram and Facebook, but I don't usually visit for Facebook. You know, I post in Instagram and repeat it in Facebook, but Instagram is the best. Is the best way.
So if people are interested in seeing what's coming soon, what you're offering, where you're teaching, anything on Zoom, they could go there to Instagram, right?
Yeah, to Instagram or to my website.
Okay, sounds
I have
good.
a calendar over there.
Yeah. Now, as we wrap up, Cecilia, what do you want people to take away most from our conversation today?
I would say that don't wait until it's too late. So use your fabric. You don't have to have the great plan or the best quilt. So just start. Put your pieces on the design wall. Let the design wall, let the fabrics talk to you. And yeah, it's better to have your fabric in a quilt than in a trash when you are not here anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that is such great advice. I love it. Cecilia, it's been so great to have you on the show. Thanks for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Brandy, for having me. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
It was a pleasure to talk to you too. So that was my show with Cecilia Koppmann. I can't even explain the joy I had perusing the galleries on her website. I love how deeply she understands color, not just as a design tool, but as something to explore and experiment with, and even just play with, just play. And so you can tell that she's still curious. After all these years of using color and understanding color, she still shows a lot of curiosity in her quilts. And I think that's part of what makes her work so exciting. I was so inspired to play with color when I perused her gallery that I've infused color into my work even since then. I love the meaning behind everything she does, from the healing through her cancer journey to the community she created during the pandemic, just to keep herself sane, but helping so many others along the way. And her 30 workshop offerings are rich and they can be connected to each other. So if you are a program coordinator, I encourage you to check out those as well. And think about how you can arrange to have her visit your guild, or you can do something fun on Zoom. What I love about Cecilia is that she doesn't just teach color, she invites people to experience it. And today I loved sharing the story of Cecilia Koppmann with you. Just give me 30 seconds of your time. 2 things I want to say. The first thing is a huge thank you for listening and tuning into the show week after week. It means the world to me and my team, which consists of James, my podcast producer, DG, my virtual assistant, and Luna, my chocolate lab. This podcast really is a dream that started with the notion of surrounding myself with people who lift me up, but it has turned into so much more than that. We absolutely couldn't have imagined becoming an award-winning podcast. But secondly, we feel like we're only just getting started. And if you enjoy what we do here, please go to your favorite social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or even YouTube, and follow Quilter on Fire. It's one small thing you can do for free to support this show. And here's a promise I'm going to make to you. I'll do everything in my power to make this the best show I can, just for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the Quilter on Fire podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts. Your support helps me reach more quilters just like you, striving for that perfect quilty lifestyle. Click on those 5 stars and share what you loved most about today's episode. Don't forget to hit the follow button if you haven't already. With new episodes dropping weekly, you won't want to miss out on the inspiring stories and tips we have in store. Until next time, dream big and have fun in the studio with the Quilter on Fire.